And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. This is the Fan Update. Howdy, y'all. Happy Monday. How y'all doing? Everybody had a good weekend, I hope. Everybody get out, do a little R&R, a little relaxation. Take it easy. Find the mojo. Center your chi. And get your life back together for another outstanding week of the grind. I hope so. My name is Rob Brown. The pleasure is mine. Ladies and gentlemen, sound the trumpets. But the great one makes his triumphant return amongst jubilants across the Rob Brown Armada. Lonzo's back. What's up, bro?
You know, that was like the longest week of vacation I think I've ever had, in a good way. You know, where you're just, I mean, a lot of times like, man, I can't believe it's over already. And it's like, you know what? That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad at all. Right?
To be real, you were just like, quiet.
No. There's no quiet when people are playing country music, but still it was a good time. Had a good time at the beach, had a good time at home, and glad to be back. And, you know, it's like an extended vacation because someone else is on vacation this week. So, I mean, there's that. So you figure you're not getting fired this week, you know? So you got that.
Can we talk about the thing?
Yeah, no problem with the thing.
I need y'all to sit with us here for just a second. I grew up a fan of country music. Now, when I say country music, I mean 90s prime country music, right? I'm talking George Strait, Garth Brooks, Dwight Yoakam, the greats. And you can even date me back to the Possum. You can date me back to Hank and Merle and Waylon. Like I am a country music fan. And Lonzo and I have had like 3 to 5 long-running debates on this show. Crispy bacon versus floppy bacon goes back to the beginning of our on-air partnership. And one of those that has consistently and constantly, and this one not so much on the air as off it, really been kind of a wedge point between us, is the greatness of country music, of which I am a big fan. Now, I will preface by saying there is some good country music out today. There are artists like Jason Isbell that are out there doing some incredible stuff, but a lot of pop country music today is bad. It's bad. It's just bad music.
I didn't want to speak for you there. I could have come up with bad, though.
Yeah, it's bad. So Lonzo and I have butted heads in the past over country music because Lonzo's argument has been for many years, country music is, and stop me if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong here, Zoe, but effectively so easy that it makes it bad.
Yeah, it's like going to the I can read section of music.
So Lonzo, this past week, as he's on vacation down in Myrtle Beach, sends me a text at like 10 at night where he's like, hey, look, we're starting a country band. We're going to make it. We're going to get right where we're big, and then I'm just going to quit the band to prove my point, right? To prove my point. And then I get here this morning, and Lonzo has put together a demo reel for the Upstate Pulse, which is the best pop culture nerd show in America that airs from 7 to 9 every Saturday on WORD. If you're not listening, you're wrong. It's great. but he puts together a demo reel for a made-up country music collection by a fake band that he has named Rob's Hat as a tip of that hat to me.
Yeah, and I warned you about that just in case someone heard it Saturday and,
Yeah.
and came at you about the name of the band. So,
But here's the infuriating part. And we, you know what? If it's cool with you, we might even play it later in the show. If it's cool with the great one.
yeah, I don't care.
So he names the band Rob's Hat as a tip of the hat to me in this argument we've been having for years. And he played me the demo of this fake, you know, like back in the 90s when you watch TV too late at night and you'd stop watching and the channel would just stay on and then come on and go, now from Time Life Classic, a new collection of songs. And then they would just give you like
From
a random collection of
Boxcar Willie.
yeah. They'd always hit you with like a random collection of songs from a different genre. So he put one of those together as a mock commercial. And here's the infuriating part. The infuriating part is that as Matthew, the voice of the masses, is doing this fake commercial, he's popping off fake country music song titles from Zoe's fake band Rob's Hat. And I'm listening to it, getting infuriated because they sound like incredible songs.
You know what they also sound like? Country music titles. For
That's
sure.
why I was
Yeah.
so mad. For instance, tell me right now, we're playing this later in the show. We'll pick a spot and we'll play it for the people. Stay tuned for that. But one of them was entitled Waffle House Serenade. And if there's ever been a better song title about love in my life, I don't know what it is. Suck it, Celine Dion. Rob's Hat just came up with the greatest love song of all time.
All kinds of things we can do with Smothered, Covered, and Chunked.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
saying. Just a lot of stuff we can do with that.
Girl, your thighs thicker than maple syrup. Like, it's gonna be so good. To the point that Zoe played this fake commercial for me with like 30 minutes before the show. And usually that's the point in time where I'm putting the show outline together. I'm deciding what segments we're doing where, as if we ever stick to a script. But I'm putting the show together in its final form, right? The way it's going to be presented to you, our darling listeners. And Lonzo hits me with this commercial, and instead of constructing the show lineup like I'm supposed to be doing for the last half hour before we crack mics, instead, I'm sitting there with the tablet writing down the initial lyrics to Waffle House Serenade. That's so good, and it infuriated me.
What's the equivalent of banger in country music? Because that will be one.
I don't know. But it was infuriating. So stay tuned because we're hitting you with that commercial later because of course, because everybody's day is better when you get a Pappy appearance. We get a Pappy appearance in there too.
His ego is already so big, man.
You did it. I don't know what you're saying that to me for. Like, you're not the cause of it.
You
did this.
I did. And there might actually be some, listeners from his job that, a twanger. That's what it is, Keegan. It's a twanger.
Keegan.
Dang it, that's a twanger.
How did I get to twanger? It was right there. Good job, Keegan. Anyway, stay tuned because that commercial is coming your way later, and it's just gold, man. It's just gold. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a show lined up for you today because we are in a wonderful point in time in the sports calendar. We have got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers, and that one is over. Vegas up 3-1. They'll need just one more to put it away. And I'm not just saying that because Vegas is the better team. They are. Florida has run out of gas. They had an electric playoff run. They did everything right all the way up to and through the conference finals, but at some point, the hottest team runs out of gas, and whatever teams are left standing, you hit a point where the best team finishes. And that's the Vegas Golden Knights right now. We're going to talk about that. Speaking of series that are over, y'all go ahead, and if you're a Denver Nuggets fan, get your bourbon ready because you're going to be celebrating an NBA title tonight. The Nuggets up 3-1 on Miami. They are headed back to, as Linda Cohn would say, the love of elevation as they get squared up for Game 5 in Denver. And this one is over as well. Why? Because Denver plays defense and does a good job of it. We're going to break that down later on in the radio broadcast. We have got to get to some South Carolina and Clemson sports on the radio broadcast today. Michael Braswell, who was an intricate part, although he had a slow start to the year this year, an intricate part of the Gamecocks making it to the Super Regionals, a Super Regional matchup that they would get swept out of by the Gators of Florida. Michael Braswell enters the transfer portal the day after the season comes to its conclusion, which tells me he had that decision made while the season was still taking place. We'll talk about that later on in the show, as well as the upward trends of the Gamecock baseball program that we saw. We're going to get to that. Big news out of the college football world as Jack Swarbrick has announced that he will be stepping down as the head dude in South Bend, Indiana, where Notre Dame resides. Jack Swarbrick, however, is a lot more than just the head of Notre Dame. He has been one of the most influential voices in college football, dating all the way back to when he took over that role in 2008. In fact, I would argue probably the only guy that has been more important to the shape of college football is likely the dude who gave us the playoffs in the first half. We're going to talk about that coming up later on in the show, and I'll tell you where Swarbrick's legacy is going to end up at. And a very odd complaint from a authority figure, question mark, at an SEC school. We're going to get to that later in the show. But before we get to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up what I think was likely the most interesting part of the entire sports weekend. Game 4, Heat hosting Nuggets. This one's down in Miami. And the Miami Heat, for whatever reason, decided that the fight taking place between Jokic and Butler wasn't it. Instead, they needed to have a fight. So they brought out their mascot, Bernie, who is an anthropomorphic flame guy kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it. You just need to look it up. They brought out Bernie, and Bernie made his way out to the center of the floor wearing a long warm-up robe and big golden boxing gloves. And then they brought out Conor McGregor. And they decided, Zoe just saw it.
No, I saw the headline.
Okay.
Of what happens.
Yep. So they brought out Bernie, who is like a white anthropomorphic flame dude with a boxing warm-up jacket and big gold gloves. And then they brought out Conor McGregor. And they had a fake fight exhibition between Conor McGregor and Bernie the flame dude. Except for somebody forgot to tell Conor that it's a mascot and you're just supposed to have fun, because Conor caught Bernie with a big-time hook, put Bernie to the floor, and then when Bernie was on the floor, you know, a basketball floor, which is hard if you've never been on a basketball gym before, the floor is hardwood. They call it hardwood for a reason. Conor then decided to go ground and pound on Bernie, clipped not Bernie, Zoe, but the dude inside Bernie's costume, clocked him so hard with a ground and pound right that when they dragged Bernie off the floor, because they did, and of course it's a mascot, it's supposed to be funny. They might have done it because Bernie's actor was actually unconscious, as we found out that the young man portraying Bernie that evening had to be brought to the ER for mild concussion and other symptoms.
All right, first of all, you can't blame Connor for this. They practiced before. They guarantee you they practiced before this.
$1 says they didn't because it's Conor McGregor.
They practiced before this, and this is the mascot's fault. First of all, for going, yeah, I'll go out there with Conor McGregor because he's Conor McGregor. Whether you think he's got punching power or not, you do now. And I just what did you think was going to happen? I think it's not good when anyone gets a concussion, but at the same time, it's hilarious. I know you don't like Connor. If it would have been somebody else, would you have thought it was funny?
Yes.
Okay.
No, yes and no. All right. Let me give you guys some backdrop here. I have worked in professional sports for a long time. Now, nothing at the NBA level. But you guys know I work for the Bits. I work for the Drive. I work for the Triumph. I've done some stuff. They don't exist anymore, but we did some stuff with the Spartan Burgers. I've been around and worked in professional sports the majority of my career. And I can tell you that even at the toppest of top levels, the majority of mascots are played by kids who are catching like $100 a game to put on these gigantic and, oh, by the way, ridiculously hot suits to go out there and entertain you. All right. I am friends with the guy who plays Stomper, for instance. I am friends with the guy that plays Reedy at the Riot. They're good people, but they're kids who throw on the uni and they go out there and they make $100 a game. And yes, even at the pro level, you might get a couple $100 a game. It doesn't pay exceptionally well to be a mascot. So, my dude went out there, is supposed to get into a fake fight with Conor McGregor. And I will tell you, as somebody who has not only organized Lonzo, but this past season, I actually refereed a mascot fight, right? Here's a picture of your boy giving the on-ice 1, 2, 3 count when Stomper pinned Shades, the mascot of the Orlando Solar Bears.
By the way, I appreciate your form there. I mean, that's full on WWE referee. The hand is yeah. Oh, you need. Were you worried you might keep sliding?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. It was not a full Lil Nate slide, because I was afraid I'd have ended up on the other side of the ice. But I slid into it. You go all the way full extension. I've done it, right? And I will tell you that the two people portraying Stomper and Shades that night did not practice their fight. They were just like, you got to wing it, because there's not really time. Guys are on the ice before the game. There's no time to go practice that. Conor McGregor is a superstar. They did not practice this fight. And nobody told Conor, hey, inside of that mascot is a 22, 23-year-old kid who showed up to make $100 tonight. All right. Maybe don't slug him in the jaw, bro.
I'm watching the video, and it's not like that. It's not. I mean, if anything, he caught him across the top of the head.
With the first one.
Yeah. And then
not the ground and pound.
The second one
was vicious, dude.
And the whole time he's checking on him to make sure he's all right. I mean, and Dana White's already coming at the NBA over this, saying it's their fault. And I gotta agree.
Of course Dana is. Dana doesn't want to see Conor get sued for $2 million and then come to him and go, Dana, I'll need another fight. That's Australian, not Irish, but you get it.
Let's
boy.
How does it make sense that you bring in a professional fighter and then he knocks somebody out? Okay. How does that make sense that you go, oh, how we never could have seen that coming?
All right, I'm glad you asked that.
And my dude leaned into it. He leaned into it. And
because he didn't think he was going to get slugged like there was a belt on the line, dude. I can't imagine the mascot went out there thinking, I'm about to get full hands from Conor McGregor.
Let's say
I'm about to get all the smoke.
Let's say it was a Gypsy King that did this. Would you think it was funny? Well, that dude may not be alive.
No, we'd be at a funeral today.
Yeah, he may not be alive.
Now, let me get to the second part, because actually, for the record, I go off on Conor McGregor because I don't like Conor McGregor, all right? But let me get to the actual serious part. Why? What? Why? And DA asked this question on his show this morning, and I'm glad he did because I'm glad I'm not the only one who had this thought. Why, Zoe? In what is not technically a must-win, but is you really definitely want to win this because you don't want to go back to Denver on the brink, right? Why would you schedule your own mascot to get his ass kicked? Why would you bring out the symbol of like a sign, like an illustration of your team, and schedule your guy to take an L in front of the home team when your team is trying not to get pushed to the brink? Why would you schedule your mascot to get wrecked on his floor during a game that you have to win? Whose call was that?
It doesn't really make sense from a promotional standpoint. It doesn't make sense at all why you would do that. I mean, yeah, it would be funny, but you're basically saying, hey, this is what's happening to us by Denver. Yeah, I don't know.
If you want to have fun with it, you can still bring out McGregor, but you bring out like a poorly put together mock-up of the Nuggets mascot.
Yeah, that would make more sense. I agree.
Yeah. You bring out like a dude in like a hokey Party City plastic wolf mask and like, I don't know, some carpet glued to his arms in a Jokic jersey. You bring that guy out and you tell him, well, first off, you go to Connor and you go, look, he's not wearing any padding, Connor. It's a fake punch.
Wait. He is too wearing padding. I've had those kind of costumes on before.
First off, the inside of those costumes are not soft.
Well,
right? They're not.
Luke says that he wore one that had hard parts on the inside. Yeah.
Because they're shells. They have to have integrity. Yeah. So, but I'm saying you don't even send out the real Nuggets mascot. You send out a like dollar store version of the Nuggets mascot, like a knockoff trailer park dollar store version.
Yeah, but that would be creepy. You don't want to scare the kids.
Don't care about the kids. It's 10 o'clock in an NBA game, all right? You send that guy out. You have Connor go out there and put that guy on his back, and you have your mascot be the referee and raise Connor's hand. And, oh, by the way, maybe put Connor in a Heat jersey. Why would you have your own mascot get KO'd on his floor during a game that you have to win? It's just a bad look, bro.
Well, this probably has something to do with cross promotion because UFC, the thing that they do where they have all the fighters, and I always forget the name because I want to call it Tough Enough, but it's not. It's
is it Ultimate Fighter?
Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, that's going on right now, and Connor is one of the coaches. So this sounds like a cross promotion thing that they were trying to do for that.
I'm sure that it is. Like, and again, for the record, no issue with using celebrities to hype the crowd, right? If McGregor's there, and even though I don't like him, I know Conor McGregor is wildly popular, right? No problem with having McGregor out there, but send him out there in a Heat jersey, have him knock out, the bad guy's mascot.
What if you found out that mascot guy said that that he thought UFC was fake? What if you heard that? What if you found out? I'm not saying that. Maybe he's talking stuff in the back going, yeah, you guys, you can't really fight. Look at you. Look at how small you are. Maybe he was talking stuff to Connor. This is what I would like to believe. And Connor just walked out with a smile and said, okay.
And didn't wreck some poor college kid.
Hey, that's what you get. That's what you get for talking.
In a fight that was dumb to be designed and scheduled from the beginning.
So you're saying it's not out of the realm of possibility, or I want you to say it's not out of the realm of possibility that this guy was talking stuff.
Nothing is out of the realm. It is within the realm of possibility that Alistair Overeem was in the Heat uni that night talking smack.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wasn't tall enough for that. The other thing is, if Connor came and sat right here,
it's messed up. I love this. It's messed up.
If Connor came and sat right here and started talking stuff, you would talk stuff right back. That's
Correct.
What I'm saying. So he probably talked stuff with that guy, and maybe he said something. This is a guy who threw a dolly, what you guys call a hand truck, through a bus. What did you expect when you walked out there?
By the way, the Heat have said that Bernie is available for Game 6 should the series continue.
Well, that's good to know.
So it's a great ending, which is because that one college kid is dead, and they just found another one to stuff in there.
Don't say that. He's not dead. He just had a concussion. He's all right, but he has a a newfound respect for all things UFC.
Let's take a break, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of stuff we need to get into on the radio broadcast today. We have got an interesting ejection in Major League Baseball that's got the old hats spinning their wheels. We'll talk about that later in the show. We've got a lot more details in the Live Tour PGA Tour merger that took place about a week ago. We'll talk about that. We got to get into the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA Finals, and the Super Regionals. 2 games get played today, and then we'll have our Field of 8 set. We'll talk about that and more. It's a busy day on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we got a live read. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back.
Can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally.
That thing is monstrous.
At htb.com. Member FDIC.
My favorite thing about the market is the pride I
Just imagine that in a real looking environment.
Yeah.
If you look around it, everything looks real. I mean, it's
So we're talking about Starfield.
Starfield. Yes.
Starfield. So they dropped a bunch of footage from Starfield yesterday on the Xbox showcase.
E3 is gone, so they're just
Yeah.
doing showcases.
It is a game that Zoe and I have been talking about for a year now.
They gotta wait till September though.
Yeah.
But it's on Game Pass, so there's that. It means you don't have to pay for it. I mean, technically you're paying for it, but you don't have to pay full price for it. So
Do I buy Diablo? Is it worth it? I saw you playing it.
it is the best Diablo game so far.
I've played no Diablo game.
Yeah, so I make this mistake of picking a class that's probably the most difficult class to beat the game with
Tank.
but how I do my builds, the problem is it's not really a problem. The skill trees are so big that you have to experiment with your builds.
Right.
And I get a set that I like, and I don't want to go away from it because I'm stubborn. And there's some better things that I probably could do. I would say yes by it, but again, I've been a fan of the game since the first one. So yeah, Luke, I spent all day yesterday. I mean, literally all day yesterday. Friday, pretty much all day. I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 5 a.m. and was playing. So, I mean, it's fun playing playing solo. It's also fun playing with other people. So,
Yeah, Crab Trap, man. I used to work there, Steven, back in the day. Are the waiters still wearing the obnoxious Hawaiian shirts that we had to wear? I never understood that. We're not in Hawaii. We're on the beach in Florida. Why are we wearing Hawaiian shirts?
because
I guess they're just beach shirts.
yeah,
now.
it kind of you see that, you think sun and the beach, I
Yeah, I
suppose.
guess.
Don't they have those like in islands somewhere or something? Aren't they wearing
Hawaii.
those? Not
Dude,
not
Hawaiian
Hawaii.
shirts.
I'm trying to think the Caribbean, or do they wear them in Mexico at the beach? I mean, they got rid of the Hawaiian shirts.
Okay. The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate, short segment here. So I'll get to a real quick story that doesn't have a huge impact right now for the Carolina Panthers, but it will have an impact for the Carolina Panthers. We found out last Thursday that the Minnesota Vikings had cut running back Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was slated to make $14 million this year. He was averaging about $14 million a year for the contract he was playing with the Vikings under. He got cut because he was going to be paid the third highest of any running back in the National Football League. The highest paid running back here. Let's play the Rob Brown Show home edition. I'll give you all the opportunity to see if you know this one. The highest paid running back on average going into this year, Lonzo, you want to take a stab at it? Who's the highest paid running back in football right now?
It's either CMC or the King.
It is CMC. Who's the number two? Derrick Henry. That is exactly correct. CMC getting about $16 million a year this year. Derrick Henry getting about $15 million per year, 15 and some change. Dalvin was set to get 14. And because the running back position is viewed as effectively recyclable, Dalvin Cook got let go by the Minnesota Vikings. And in getting let go of by the Minnesota Vikings, Dalvin is on the hunt to try to get another contract in that same range. Well, Saquon Barkley is looking for a new contract as well. Saquon Barkley is asking to be paid upwards of $14 million. Saquon Barkley had an offer on the table from the New York Giants. You know, that team he's already on, that team that wants to stick around, for that $14 million. And he turned it down. Saquon has missed OTAs. He is likely to miss full team reports coming up in the next few days. The mandatory report day for Saquon Barkley is July 17th. And Saquon made it very clear with some comments over the weekend that it's a long way from July 17th. A lot of time for him and the G-men to get the deal done. The Giants do not want to make Saquon Barkley the highest paid running back in the National Football League. Why not? Simple. Injury. You go back to 2016. He had an ankle injury when he was playing. You go back to 2015. Had an ankle injury when he was playing. You go back to 2018. Barkley was hurt in camp. He was ready for week 1, but it was a question mark. 2019, had an ankle sprain against the Buccaneers. Missed some time. 2020, torn ACL during week 2. Ended his season after just 2 games. September 2022, had an MCL sprain. Ended up missing the rest of that year. 2021, a low ankle injury in week 5 against the Cowboys. Missed some time. December 2022, ended up with a cervical neck stinger, and he did play through the pain, but for a hot minute there were questions about whether he was going to be able to. The guy has been injured effectively every single year since 2015 when he was playing college football. So the Giants are going, hey, we can't give you highest paid money. By the way, I misspoke there. The second highest paid running back in the league is Alvin Kamara with $15 million, then Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Then Derrick Henry.
Two running backs that are kind of interchangeable with the things that they can do.
AK-41, that's exactly right. And then D. Henry, who is the first anomaly in that group, number 3.
Yeah, one of those 3 is in jail, right?
Alvin's not in jail,
Okay.
but he's likely going to catch a suspension
Okay,
for the first few weeks of the season.
So technically, well,
Correct.
I don't know if he gets paid if he goes to jail.
And by the way, that is a big chunk of the reason.
Which could drop him, out of the 2 spot. I mean, I'm just saying.
You're not wrong. That is part of the reason that Kendre Miller out of TCU got drafted by New Orleans. I'm going to go ahead and call the shot now. New Orleans is looking for the replacement for Alvin Kamara because they're not going to sign him to a new fat stack contract when his time comes up, partially because of the off-the-field issue with the suspension, partially because teams don't want to pay $15 million to running backs anymore because they are recyclable. Every year we have 2 or 3 guys who pop up and have a great year. Miles Sanders was one of those guys for Philly last year. He is now a Panther who is catching 24 over 4, right? 24 over 4 for a guy who just played in the league. Here's what I'm driving at. I saw at least 3. We talked about this on Thursday's show. But I saw over the course of the weekend at least 3 different spots where analysts were like, Carolina's a wonderful landing spot for Dalvin Cook. Stop. You already have a $24 million man in your backfield in Miles Sanders. He is backed up by Chuba Hubbard, who has shown he can be a workhorse kind of guy for you in that 2 role. You are in a good spot. You do not need to take money that could be invested elsewhere. What other spots could they use it for? How about another safety to put over the top of J.C. Horn? Hell, how about another cornerback to put back there with J.C. Horn in case you don't want it to, fingers crossed, but in case J.C. goes down to injury again. But remember last week, he said, I'm feeling good, I'm not injury prone, and then what happened? Literally the next day, he got hurt and is missing the rest of OTA. Should be ready for camp. We'll see. Edge rusher. And again, I've seen a lot of people asking, why aren't the Panthers going in on an edge rusher? Part of the reason why they switched to the 3-4. Edge rusher is less important than block eater. You still want a guy who can get to the quarterback off the defensive end spot when the linebacker is maintaining coverage behind him. But it's not as important to have an elite pass rusher on the outside when you're a 3-4 instead of a 4-3. Carolina's making that shift. They are still going to be a hybrid defense, which means you will still see some 4-3. So I would like to see some investment in the outside pass rusher, the edge rusher. But it kind of is what it is. I would also keep investing on the offensive line. Bryce Young is blowing everybody away in OTAs, right? In fact, something I didn't see coming, Lonzo, I don't know if you did. Last week, Frank Wright named BYQB1. We're in OTAs.
By the
this
way,
ain't week 2 of the preseason. This ain't week 3 of the regular season.
Wait. You asked me if I saw this coming. Remember, we had this argument about who would be who would be the starter game one?
Yeah, but come on, you didn't see it happening in OTAs, dude.
Well,
like preseason,
I thought,
maybe.
I believe I said it would happen in camp, so it was earlier than what I expected, like a month earlier. But yeah,
So BY's been blowing everybody away, including Frank Reich, who named him QB1 during OTAs. Well, if he is that guy, if he truly is knocking everybody's socks off that way, you're never going to be hurting to put more money into the offensive line that keeps him clean. There are about 6 positions around the field that I would put $24 million into before I would make Dalvin Cook the second or third highest paid running back in the National Football League. Oh, by the way, Dalvin Cook, who I love. I watched him play in person many times when he was in Tallahassee. Love Dalvin Cook. Guy's a phenomenal pass-catching running back. Really good momentum-shifting kind of guy. He's also 28. He's going to want a 4-year contract. I'm bad at math, but if he's 28 and catches a 4-year contract, that means he would play until he is class
32.
Nailed it. Who said they don't got good math up in Gray Court? All right. What is the shelf life of running backs? Sometimes stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason. It's 30. Most guys start trailing off at 29 and are done at 30. Maybe you get a guy who goes to 31, but most guys are done by 30 because it's a remarkably physical position. We don't ever credit it as such, right? Whenever we think violence on the football field, we go where? Offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers. But I want you to think about a running back. A running back touches, a good running back, a top flight running back, touches the ball 22 times a game, sometimes a couple more if he can catch a pass like CMC, like DC, right? So you're talking 20, let's say 24 times a game. Lonzo, if a running back has the football, there's only 2 end results. He scores a touchdown or he gets hit. That's it. That's the only 2 results, which means that if a guy scores 1 touchdown every single game, 23 times a game, he is taking a full contact and usually full speed hit from a defensive player. It's a wear and tear position. So why would the Panthers put 14 mil plus? Because that's what DC is going to be looking for. That's what Minnesota was set to pay him. 14 mil a year plus into a running back when you've already got a guy in Miles Sanders back there. You've already got a guy in Chuba Hubbard back there who can be your chains of pace guy. You've already got Raheem Blackshear back there, a guy who is showing improvement at being your screen back. Why would you sink another 14 mil, end up having to likely cut one of those cats when there's at least 4 other positions around the football field that you need to invest in? Stop it. Dalvin Cook is not a fit for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I just where did this come from? It's just no.
I really want to say
we got a running back who loves anime. We don't need anybody else.
No, that's me, big dog. Jamal's a saint, son.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, don't you worry about it.
Never mind bringing Dalvin Cook. Been on vacation for a week.
That's fine. We're going to get you through it. We'll get Lonzo back up to speed. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we'll wrap up hour number 1. Hour number 2 is championship hour. NBA Finals, NHL Finals, and Super Regionals in Omaha. We're going to break them all down coming up in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, what's up, stream? What are you calling Angry Care a steamed veggie?
Yeah, Steven. So what it is they took the Cracker Barrel store, they fused it with QT, gave it a rodent as a mascot, and put a bunch of people from Pickens County and Lawrence County in there to shop. That's what they did.
Okay. Forgot we got to have the Buc-ee's.
And it's another one of those popular trends. Everyone else is doing it, so I got to put a picture out saying, "Oh yeah, I really love this place." But I will say, and I said this Saturday night, those are the best bathrooms I've ever been in a public establishment.
That in and of itself
Yes.
gets them nomination.
I mean, you just walk in the bathroom. It was like, oh, okay, this is like a major contrast to what I just walked through. This is classy. This is upscale. This is, what I would expect in a high priced restaurant. This is not what I expect in a place where Yahoos go. And so the restrooms were really nice. Good luck, Bubba, man. You got this.
I just wrote myself a reminder to talk about 3 topics: Lonzo versus Buc-ee's, Lonzo versus country music, and Lonzo versus things other people like.
Hey, I'm not anti-popular. If popular, if it's something good,
Like Buc-ee's.
no, I didn't buy anything in there, Trey, because I could get most of it at Cracker Barrel. So I mean, except for the jerky, and I'm just not they do have lots of different types of jerky. But I'm sure my neighbor down the road has lots of different kinds of jerky.
No, Steven, you're just wrong, bro. Crab Island is it's the best place on earth. It is the single best place on planet Earth, my dog.
I did describe my Buc-ee's experience as on the air Saturday night as going in with a Rob Brown attitude. So because of that, I mean, right away, I didn't like it before I went in there, and it may have skewed what I was thinking. But then when I went in and realized it's a nice place, but everyone I see in here could be my neighbors, I don't want to go to that place. It looked like a Clemson tailgate party. That doesn't interest me. Hey, Diddy, look at this jerky. Yeah. Diddy.
The Rob Brown Show wrapping up hour number 1 right here on the Fan Upstate. Hey, turns out you can be a part of this radio show. How about it? 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663. That is the number to shoot us a phone call and jump on the air. You can also deliver unto us a text message if you would like to. That number is 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Texas said, you know Connor's apologizing to absolutely nobody. Fight Club with Lonzo, 11:20 on Thursdays.
Absolutely right. You bring Connor out and he knocks someone out. I mean, yeah.
Poor mascot.
Genius move, Miami.
Poor.
And when Miami loses tonight, that's going to be the picture they show. The mascot laying and Connor hitting that last punch.
Anyway, NBA Finals are over tonight when Denver puts Miami away. Like, enjoyed the Heat run. Really did. They're done. We're going to talk about that next hour. But since we only have about 3 minutes here, I got to bring this up. Was that your first experience with the entity in question?
Yes.
Okay. Lonzo last week, for those of you that aren't in tune with Lonzo's personal life, and why wouldn't you be? Lonzo spent a week on vacation, took a ride over to the East Coast of the Palmetto State. And Lonzo had his first Buc-ee's experience.
Well, it was two. The first one was Sunday on our way up there,
Okay.
where the place was so busy that the line was out the road to try to get in there. And I'm laughing the whole time going, there's nothing worth this. Nothing. And I mean, nothing worth this. So on the way back, I'm telling Cameron, I'm like, we got to go give it a shot just for show prep purposes. I'm interested in seeing, the Sunday crowd versus the during the day week crowd,
Sure.
which was probably, it was a whole lot less. So we decided to go in there because I had to go to the restrooms. Like, let's go check this place out. And I went in going, okay, first of all, they put on a banner all their openings, their job openings,
Yep.
and how much each person can make, and they all make more money than me. So maybe watching that as soon as I walk in made me think, this place. But listen, this is, and I described this on the stream, this is QT fused with the Cracker Barrel store and a rodent mascot. And yes, they have jerky. I mean, good for them. Their bathrooms are immaculate. They are amazing. The best bathrooms I've ever been in my entire life. That includes any bathroom that I've lived in. These are amazing bathrooms. I guess that these are 1%er bathrooms. It's the closest I've ever been to it. Rob can attest to whether that's true or not. But Buc-ee's is one of those places where people go, hey, you been to Buc-ee's? It's amazing. And so the next guy goes, yeah, I'm going to go Buc-ee's. And then everyone's taking pictures of themselves outside of Buc-ee's. Ain't nobody in there buying the jerky. Okay. You're just taking a picture because you think it's popular and you want to tell all your boys that you're at Buc-ee's. That's all it is. I mean, it's just a gas station in a store, and it's not that big of a deal.
Buc-ee's is fabulous. All right. First off, you buried the lead there. Buc-ee's bathrooms are it's the best you're gonna do as far as breaking up your roadie.
I'm willing to wade through the yahoos to get to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of yahoos.
Yeah. I'm also going to say, bro, they get you in and they get you out quick at the Buc-ee's. Like, the line might be long, but the turnover is quick.
You should have seen Sunday. No, I disagree. You go there on a Sunday. You take a day trip down there on Sunday.
I hit the Buc-ee's every time I go down to Florida, on the way down and on the way back.
Well, maybe this one's different because it's on.
I haven't been to that one yet.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. I did go to that one when I went over there to call Burns at what is it? West Florence, I think I called.
Yeah,
over there.
It probably was West Florence.
And it wasn't bad, but I will also tell you, I hit the Buc-ee's on the way back, and it was like 11:30 on a Friday. But it was great, man. And I'll go ahead and tell you, the jerky selection's good. The barbecue's a little overhyped. Like, the barbecue gets sold as a stopping point. Like, you got to stop here for the barbecue. The barbecue's okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, the nanner pudding.
I did see the banana pudding, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little pricey for that little bit. When I could just go home and make banana pudding for that price, probably. So no,
it's a lot of work. When the nanner pudding's right there.
It is a lot of work, but when you got mom's recipe.
I mean, I get it, but the nanner pudding's right there, man. It's just right there. All right. So Lonzo, the guy who's just anti everything that other people like.
Not true.
Doesn't like Buc-ee's.
It's the equivalent of a pet rock or Beanie Babies or something like that. It's a fad. People are all excited about it.
The fad has been hot for years, dog. They're building them everywhere.
Can't wait till they come here so I can drive past.
All right. If you're on a roadie, are you timing it out to hit the Buc-ee's? For me, the answer is yes. I know exactly where it is. It's just past Opelika, Alabama. If you're on a roadie, are you timing it out to hit the Buc-ee's? Text us 71307 with your short Buc-ee's review. We're back after this. Championship hours next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
I've been to Pedro's. Yes. I mean, when you first move here from Ohio and you see all the signs for Pedro's, You got to stop because there's like 3,000 signs on both sides of the road. That is a cultural experience.
I have not been there yet. I think I saw it once. Is that the place that has like a?
It's a giant sombrero, man.
Yeah.
It is. I haven't been there in the last 6 or 7 years. I assume the sombrero is still there, and it is a giant sombrero. Yes, it wouldn't fit my head. It's so big.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free.
I was chastised for not tipping a bathroom attendant at Buc-ee's.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Here's the thing.
No.
They make more money than me. Why would I? Why would I?
Were they advertising openings at the Buc-ee's you stopped at?
Yes.
Okay. You can manage a Buc-ee's car wash for $125,000 a year. $125,000 a year to manage a car wash. You might be loving Buc-ee's because you're getting some free car washes.
I didn't see a car wash. Maybe there was one. It's a gas station, but yeah. Admittedly, if I did like it, I'd pretend to not like it just because it would bother Rob, but it's just a gas station, dude. The bathrooms were amazing, though. I'm trying to think of what do I like that's popular. I think someone needs to tell me what's popular right now because I don't know.
There's nothing worse than coming home from a hot day to find out that your AC unit isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like Priority Heating and Air. Their HVAC specialist will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business cool this summer and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-1847 or find them online at Priority.
That could be Steven. That absolutely could be it. Didn't think about that.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. When buying toys for your pet, look for natural materials like cotton, rope, wood, or bamboo. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet.
Although this did have something that I had never seen before and wasn't sure that it existed, and that are electric car recharging stations. I'd never seen them before. It's one of those things like, oh, those do exist, not just on commercials.
Summer's heating things up, outside and on the grill. Whether you're smoking a brisket or grilling up veggies, Kingsford Original Charcoal delivers the consistent performance and smoky wood-fired flavor barbecuers crave. Kingsford Original runs faster and has a long burn time, giving you the ultimate grilling.
The 1%er Buc-ee's.
Kingsford Original Charcoal. Kingsford.com.
Yeah, because you were talking about car wash, and this one didn't. Really,
Oh, didn't have a car wash?
No, it doesn't have a car wash.
Really?
At least not that I saw. Yeah.
He's sports guy, so I get why maybe he has sports guy, not just a sports guy, but a sports guy.
Am I a sports guy?
No, because you have other interests.
Oh.
T1, just a sports guy. That's it. It's all sports all the time, nothing else. There's no other extracurricular. It's all, this is what I need to watch. This is what I need to, all sports. There are people like that. Just like there's some.
So you mean beef?
Yes. a sports
Oh,
guy.
good barbecue.
No. Brisket is just
I'm
beef.
just convinced you've
It's
never
it's just
actually
like
had
a
great barbecue.
fancy barbecues for poor people, and I've raised
You
myself to a
understand.
level, not quite 1%er, but I've raised myself to a level to where I no longer have to eat
No,
the
you
foods
don't-
that poor people can only afford.
No. Good barbecue takes time, energy, effort, money, and passion to make.
Passion.
Passion. You have to be.
So you can eat
passionate.
barbecue and go, man, the person who made this was passionate.
Yes.
Okay.
Hell yes.
Okay.
Hell yes.
You have to give me an example
There's-
of that
okay,
barbecue, and I will try it.
King
And
Folks Bar. I can't bring it to you, but King Folks Barbecue in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. has a dude that has been working there since I was in elementary school. This dude's got to be in his mid to late 70s at this point, old black guy. And this barbecue, when I go home, I will drive the hour to get the Kim folks to have good barbecue.
Warehouse in the first break.
All right, Joe, I try not to stack non-sports stuff back to back. I really do. But sometimes it just happens. I am officially and thoroughly convinced that Lonzo's just never had great barbecue. You just haven't. Because great, not good. Great barbecue takes a few things. It takes patience. It takes practice. It takes passion. It takes money. It takes effort, and it takes time. You don't just throw a slab of ribs on a grill and end up with a great slab of ribs. You got to know temperature control, the hot and the cold zones on your grill. You got to get your rub just right or your sauce just right to match up with the way that you smoke the meat. It depends on what kind of wood chips you're using, the quality of the grill that you're doing. And it takes a lot of practice doing over and over and over and over and over to get it right. Great barbecue takes effort. It takes money. It takes time. It takes practice, and it takes passion to get it right. And when you have all of those things, then that barbecue will literally cause you to just have a moment about how good life is.
All right. If you are a local barbecue place and you can prove to me that there's passion in your barbecue, I'm willing to try your barbecue. I don't know how you can convince me that I make my barbecue with passion, because that's what you're saying is that extra ingredient that makes barbecue excellent. By the way, barbecue is only beef with ketchup based. Anything else is inferior.
No.
That's
no,
it. That's it.
No,
yeah.
no,
yeah.
No.
To quote Star Wars, I have spoken.
No. Yeah, and you've spoken badly. To quote Indiana Jones, you chose poorly. In this case, your words. No. All right? It is not, again, like, it sounds like to you, get meat, throw meat on fire, eat meat. That's not barbecue. That's just cooking.
Lonzo just pawn in Game of Life.
It's so much more than that. And again, you want to know why there's so few people that make great barbecue? James on the stream, which you can watch at facebook.com/thefanupstate, or by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. James said, you had me up until the effort part. That's why there are only a few people who truly do great barbecue, because it does take effort. If Rob does ribs like 2-3 times a year. But the reason why is if Rob is going to do ribs, this is a day he has to prepare for, like days in advance. I am talking, you got to get the meat right. You got to get it tenderized the right way. You got to get it seasoned through the right way. Then on grill day, I'm a charcoal guy with some wood chips for the smoky flavor. You got to get the grill lit the right way, evenly lit. You got to get the charcoals lit in the funnel, then distribute it in a way. I got my hot zone over here. I got my regular temperature over here. I got to get those chips placed in the right way so they burn, but they don't burn too quick, and you don't overwhelm it with the smoke. You just want just that little kiss of smoke there in that meat. Then you've got to cook the meat for a while. It's not just get fire hot, throw meat on fire. It is, I need my fire to create a temperature at exactly this mark. And I need it to hold there, because once I close the lid on that, I need to know, because I've done it and I've practiced it and I've perfected it, that meat is going to sit over that exact temperature for that long. Because once you open that lid, you've reset the whole process. You got to be able to close it and just let it go. Just
all right. All this is allegedly, because Rob has spoken about his prowess in the kitchen for many years, and I have yet to taste anything that he's cooked.
You like fried shrimp?
I've had a ton of shrimp at the beach. I just had shrimp last night for supper.
I'm gonna bring you some fried shrimp this week.
Sure you are.
I am. The lady friend asked me because I make a dope Cajun fried shrimp too.
You also were going to bring me jambalaya. Let's see. There's quite a few things that you were going to bring me that you haven't, done yet.
Hey, all
So
the pictures go on Twitter. They're real. It's not my fault it is exactly my fault that I can't make them last till the next day.
yeah,
I got you.
I mean, you could set some aside and go, these are Lonzo shrimp. And,
Barbecue. Steven said, is barbecue code for doing the dirty, Rob? Feel like he's describing barbecue like he would doing the dirty. Look, great barbecue should give you the same euphoria, my guy. Great barbecue should give you the same, maybe not the same physical feeling.
Yeah, let's hope not.
It's a weird special ingredient.
Yes. Let's stop going down that road.
When you pick, I'm a rib guy, all right? Good brisket, really good. I'm just a rib guy. I've nailed my ribs down, all right? When you pick up Rob's ribs and you grab that bone and you pick it up and the bone just slides out of the meat, yeah? So then you just got to kind of put, and the meat, you don't have to pull it, Lonzo. You just grab the piece and it just splits. It just falls off the rest of the meat and you have that bite, right? It's not the same physical sensation, but it is the same post-physical sensation, just that.
All right. So I know this is done
Life's
on
good.
another show on the station a ton. But all right. Text us 71307 or hit us up on the stream and tell me what local barbecue place cooks with passion to the point where if I walk in and I eat some of their barbecue, I will automatically know it was passionately made.
I'm good with that. 71307. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one crack at this. Okay? One crack, because this is how this works. If we send Zoe to a barbecue joint that does not have life-altering barbecue, that's it for us. We'll never get him again, right? There'll never be a point down the road where he's like, hey, I'd like to run that barbecue thing back, right? We got one crack at this. So if we have one crack at sending Zoe to a barbecue joint that we know he is going to have a bite of that barbecue and go, oh, just that moment of revelation and realization that he has been missing out on great, passionate barbecue this long. Where do we send him? 71307. Start your text with fan and then give me the restaurant. Now, don't hit me up with my backyard unless you're willing to bring some and drop it off at the station for Lonzo to eat.
I want to see you cook it. That's not. Yeah, it's no.
Fair enough. Don't say my backyard. All right. Don't say unless you're inviting us over for the pool party / barbecue.
Yeah, I don't want to be back in the hospital. So you just dropping some meat off and asking me. I've already done that recently. I'm not in a hurry to go back there.
All right. This is what I'm compiling the list as they text in. We've got one. All right. We got Moe's Original on Stone Avenue.
James says not a good start for the week for a Talk Sports guy.
Yeah. Listen.
There were a ton of sports in the first hour. Finished up with some Buc-ee's, and yeah, we talked some country music. It's a mix. It's cornucopia. It's what you get if you're sitting at the sports bar. You don't only talk about sports; you talk about other stuff too.
That's correct.
You do.
All right, so we've got a couple in already. I'm compiling the list. There it is. There's the beginnings of the list right there. I am compiling the list. I will keep track. I'm not gonna tell you which ones are getting votes. Not because I don't want to. I'm not gonna tell you which ones are getting votes because I'm gonna compile how many texts each place gets, and whoever gets the most text for their restaurant, that's where I'm sending Zoe. Zoe and I are gonna leave here one day. We're gonna go get lunch together after the show, and we'll do the full review. No problem. So keep them coming. And I'm talking anywhere in the upstate, all right? Because I am willing to throw Zoe in the front seat of the new rig and drive him to the Berg if that's what I got to do, all right? So keep them coming. Let's see. There's a new one. Haven't got that one yet. Here's one. I like it.
Keep in mind, just don't throw out your favorite. I mean, it's got to be. Rob is pointing out that it has to be passionate. That I can taste that this was made with passion.
I am talking. You know what I mean? That barbecue that changes your day. All right.
In a good way, hopefully, because changing your day in a bad way. No.
Correct. All right. Keep them coming. If I get to take Zoe out for one shot at barbecue. All right. One shot at barbecue. Because if we fail this, if Zoe eats the barbecue and he looks and he goes, it's barbecue, because that's how we'll say it. If he says it's barbecue, we're done. We've lost him. There's no getting him back. I get one crack to change Zoe's perspective on an entire arena of food, right? I'm even going to go one step further and go, you've got to hit me with what restaurant and what cut of meat to go with. I'm a rib guy. But like some of y'all like a good smoked butt. Some of y'all like brisket. Some people love to like barbecue wings.
I want to point something out. So because of the stomach problems and things like that, I'm trying to stay away from certain kinds of meats. So I would prefer chicken or beef. I don't know about the pork so much. So if pork's the way you're going, give me something else.
Ribs.
So beef ribs.
All right.
Ribs of the cow.
Why are you being so oddly specific about it? Sorry, I'm writing that. This list is important.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the show is important, but getting Lonzo's perspective on barbecue corrected is every bit as important.
And see, here's the thing. So there's pressure on me. If I go there and I don't like it, then there's pressure on me because Rob thinks I don't like anything, and that's not true. And if there's one name that's getting called out a lot, that would make that place popular, wouldn't it? And since supposedly I don't like popular things, maybe automatically I don't like it. And that's not true.
Or we have our
I'm willing to try just about any food. I've had haggis before. I've had some things that people shouldn't try to eat. I've done that. So
we have our first restaurant with multiple votes. Again, I'm not going to tell you what I will tell you what they are at the end of the show. All right. I'll tell you what they are at the end of the show, but I'm not going to tell you who's voting for what yet, because I don't want to skew the votes. Because some of y'all will stop giving us what you believe is the best, and you'll start voting against other restaurants. We've played this game enough, so keep your votes coming in. If I have to send Zoe, actually, I'm going to bring Zoe to one place to have one rib plate or one chicken plate or whatever. If I got to bring him to one place to change his bad opinion about barbecue, where's that place? All right, let's run to a break.
Don't be promising. We're going to do our best to get back to sports.
I probably can say that more than likely there's somewhat of a chance, there's a meager possibility that it's all sports the rest of this hour, because we've got to get to the NBA Finals, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. We've got to get to the College World Series, as we've got 2 games today to round out the bracket of 8 headed to Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to get into that. And we've got some local stuff to cover as well. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Send us your barbecue great spots. 71307. Fan, name of the restaurant. Send them in so we can get Lonzo's life made better. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
All right, guys. Live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is on the ones and twos. 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Start your text with FAN. And if you're in on our question du jour, then hit us up and let us know. I get one crack at taking Zoe to a place that is going to change his entire opinion and outlook on the genre of food. Is that what it's called? A genre of food? Category of food? Type of style of food.
This is I mean, I think all those things work.
That is barbecue. Send us the one place. If you got to take Zoe to one place to change his mind on barbecue, where would you send him? Send it to me, 71307. Start that text with FAN. I am compiling the list, and Lonzo and I will have lunch either at the end of this week or the beginning of next. We'll let you know. We are going to get very briefly into the world of shooty hoops. The NBA Finals ongoing. We head back to the Denver arena tonight as the Nuggets try to put away the Heat. And I think for most of us, we think Denver Nuggets, we think offense. They were one of the most efficient offenses in the National Basketball Association this year. Nikola Jokic, a major part of that. If Jokic gets his mitts on the ball inside of 7 feet, he's scoring the rock, right? He's done it all year. Jamal Murray has been a high percentage shooter all year. We think offense, and he should. That's fine. But how about this? For a team that has finished in the top 10 in the NBA in points scored per possession for 6 years running, they have been in the top 5 4 times in that same span, including this year. How about this? The Nuggets have led the postseason in offensive efficiency and by a lot. It is because of Jokic. It is because of Murray. It is because of an excellent two-man game with a lot of role players behind them who get it. But Bruce Brown pointed it out after Game 4. He said, I don't think it's just us scoring the ball. It's our defense. We've held them in the 90s the last few games, and that's why we've won the game. And that's it, right? The one game Denver lost in this series, Denver had an excellent offensive game. They got 41 out of Nikola Jokic. Denver had an excellent game, and the only L they've taken in these finals so far. That's because it is not Denver's offense that is winning and losing games in the postseason. It is predicated around their defense. The NBA Finals, without a doubt, have served as nothing less than proof positive that Nikola Jokic should have been the NBA's MVP. Jamal Murray, the past 2 years really, has elevated himself to superstar status in this postseason, and he's been doing so in these finals as well. But how about this? According to Cleaning the Glass, through 19 postseason games, the Nuggets have allowed 111.9 points per every 100 non-garbage time possessions. They DQ late in games where teams might be just trying to jack up threes to get back into it or not doing anything. Per non-garbage time possessions, the Nuggets are allowing 111.9 points per 100 non-garbage time possessions. If this was the regular season, that would have ranked 5th in the league during the 82-game season. During these finals, just the finals, they've actually gotten better. 109.5 points per 100 non-garbage time possessions, with performances in games 1, 3, and 4 that have ranked as, and here's the important part, Miami's 3 least efficient offensive outings in the postseason. The Miami Heat, their 3 worst postseason games have all come in the NBA Finals, all come against the Denver Nuggets, and all been L's. Now, that means their fourth worst was somewhere along the line. Well, let's call it what it is. They've played the Nuggets 4 times. 3 of those times were 3 of their worst offensive efficiency outings in the entire postseason. They lost all 3. The one where they did not have one of their worst offensive efficiency games, they beat the Nuggets and they won. The Denver Nugget defense is a bank vault right now. You're just not getting through. They have locked up the Nets. Jamal Murray was asked about what is Denver doing to make it so special. He said, quote, "The shooters are moving on every drive. Duncan is flying off screens both ways. Bam, Max Strus shooting well, but he's getting some good looks. We can't keep giving the shooters good looks. We know they're going to make shots, but as long as we keep our discipline and don't give them the open stuff, I think we're in a good spot. We gave them a couple of easy layups, easy dunks last game. We take those away. We take away a lot of life they have and just kind of shut down their offense. And that's it." Miami has great team chemistry. We've seen that. We love that. We've talked about that, right? My favorite thing in this postseason so far, without a doubt, has been the we don't give a damn mentality of the Heat. And why do I call it that? Because after the lone win of the Miami Heat in these finals so far, every player who got a post-game interview all use that phrase somehow. They asked Jimmy Buckets, "Hey, man, how do you feel about the fact that nobody's giving you a chance, that you were such big dogs coming into the finals?" He said, "Frankly, and I speak for the whole team, I don't give a damn." Bam Adebayo said something similar. I think Duncan Robinson said something similar. Everybody on the Heat has adopted this mentality, and you can see it. But here's the thing. That goes to say they have great chemistry, which is worth precisely and exactly 0 points in a basketball game directly. The way chemistry works on a basketball floor is it helps the flow of your offense. Yeah. It helps your point guard understand, if I bring the ball down, I cut right, I can trust that my shooting forward is going to move to fill that gap and give me an evac pass if I end up getting locked down. If I cut left, I know my big man is coming up to the elbow, and when he comes up to the elbow, the backside power forward is going to drive to the block and create that triangle. We can work with that. All that is chemistry, but that can be taken care of with great defense. This is why I get so frustrated when teams go all in building super team offenses and effectively neglect defense, because defense can't beat great offense, but it can beat a good offense that is predicated on flow. You can disrupt flow, and when you disrupt flow and the offense is a flow, you disrupt the offense. That's what the Nuggets are doing to the Heat. They have learned that lesson. They learned that lesson in the 1L they've taken. Denver puts away Miami tonight.
See, I was going to say, in the one game that Miami won, didn't they find a way to get around that defense?
A lot of flow. Great flow.
And it really comes down to Jimmy Butler playing well. If Jimmy Butler plays well, I was watching something this morning, and they played a bunch of clips about Butler not playing with passion. Back to that word. Yeah, back to that word. But and they haven't seen him play with the same kind of passion he played leading up to these finals, because we've seen some games where he's just took over and you could tell he's in it and he's emotional and everything, that he seems to not be on that level in these finals, and without it, they can't win.
You're not wrong. They have to have Jimmy Butler.
Where's Tyler Hero? Where's Tyler Hero?
I don't think Tyler was ever getting right. Right? And here's the other part. Tyler Hero gets right. Great. Tyler Hero increases flow to the Miami offense. I would absolutely give you that. Tyler Hero is also one of the biggest defensive liabilities in basketball, right? Tyler Hero gives up more points in 1v1 possession than I think all but like 2 guys in the postseason that average more than 12 minutes a game. It's some ridiculous number like that.
But is he a 3-point guy?
Can be.
So you're trading 3s for 2s. I mean, if it gets down to
Yeah, but
desperation,
you're
and
not
also
convincing me.
where's Kevin Love? I mean, he was doing.
Kevin got a start last game, or what? 2 games ago.
Yeah,
Didn't do anything with it.
well,
Got to start.
neither is anybody else. It's if what you're doing is not working, try something else.
I don't know, man. Kevin Love's 34, and I'm pulling for the guy. I love Kevin Love, but he's 34. If your emergency plan is Kevin Love,
I am not saying that he's the guy that's going to save everything for you, but
good thing.
get him in there some, because he can still make some shots. When your offense isn't working, is when shots aren't dropping, put someone in and see if their shots are dropping.
Like I said, I don't think it's a bad thought. What I do think is the Nuggets are the most efficient defensive team in this postseason. The numbers point that out. What was that number? 109 per 100 possessions. 109, which means that when you average 2 points of possession, let's just say average 2, let's not include 3, just average 2 points of possession. That means that 1 out of every 4 times the Heat have the basketball, they score. That means 3 out of 4 times the Heat have the basketball, they don't score. If a guy in the league was shooting 25% from the floor in the finals, he'd get benched for it.
Well, my plan tonight is to watch the first quarter and then decide if I want to
Stay awake for the
decide if I want to switch to Monday Night Raw.
Fair enough.
Because if it looks like they already went home, what's the point of watching?
In the 3 losses, Denver has held Miami to 109 on average per 100 non-garbage time possessions. In the 1 win, game 2, back in Denver, the Heat scored 129.1 per 100 possessions in that game. It's a huge increase, right? And in that game, honestly, and I called this shot the day after that game, that was the first and only game of this series. Scratch that. That was the first and only game of this postseason where it felt like Denver's head got a little big, right? Like it felt like Denver read their press clippings. They weren't disciplined, not a lot of hustle. Rotations were bad. And then what they do in game 3? Play like Denver again. And then what they do in game 4? Play like Denver again. I think Miami delivered a fat slice of humble pie in game 2. And the Nuggets ate it, learned from it, and came back strong. I would expect this to be the same. Game 1, Miami shot 33% from 3. They lost. Game 3, Miami shot 31% from 3 and lost. Game 4, Miami shot 32% from deep and lost. The outlier, game 2, where Miami shot 49% from the arc. Here's the problem that you bump into. Miami's only hope, and this is where your Tyler Hero play comes in, Zoe. Miami's only hope is to get white hot from deep. That's it. So again, Denver being a bigger and more plotting team, they're not a team that can chase you around the arc playing defense. You can create 3-point shots if you're Miami. But if you're not making them, it doesn't matter. You have got to shoot 50% from 3 if you want a chance in this.
All right, see, and this is why I'm saying first quarter, because you got to come out on fire doing everything that you possibly can to get a lead and then try to keep it. That's kind of what they did in the game they won. They've got to do the same thing. If they don't come out like that, if it's close at the end, those are the games that Denver always wins.
Yeah. Listen, Denver's fine with a close game, right? Nuggets, by the way, 9-point favorites tonight. Denver's fine with a tight game. They are fine because the way that they score with much more high percentage shots from near the rim, the exact shots that coaches tell you to look for in those types of games. Go get the high percentage shot. Don't force up a 3 when you're up 4, when you can work it down into the best big man in basketball and get an easy 2. There's one more thing that got pointed out to me, and I went back and I watched this because I was almost blown away by it, and it turns out it was accurate. back in game 2, in that L, Miami was doing something that they haven't done in the other games, or at least not to the extent. A lot of pick and roll. A lot of pick and roll. Denver allowed 7 baskets. That equated to 19 points in game 2 because they did not switch and they let somebody get wide, right? Because they set a pick and roll and either the screener stayed on the defender stayed on the screener and they allowed the screenee to get open and get a good look, or they both came off the screen, both chased down the shooter kicked back to the person setting the screen, and they got a clean look. In game 2, Miami got 19 points off of bad switches. In game 3, I think they got 4. If Miami shoots well, has great flow, and communicates confuses the Denver defense, they can win this game. But I've got no reason to believe that they can, because Michael Malone is a great coach. He sees it, he understands it, and it looked like they fixed it in game 3 and 4. This thing is over tonight in Denver. The Nuggets, behind Nikola Jokic, deservedly so, will be your 2023 NBA champs. Let's take a break. We come back. We got to do the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, but this time we do it with Lord Stanley's Cup. The Las Vegas Golden Knights are ready to go ahead and hoist that trophy. We'll take a look at how they got here and what's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Got to go get a fresh water. Don't go nowhere.
Yeah, that's
22 runs in a baseball game.
not good.
That's insane. Where is that place, Steven? Because whether Zoe comes with him or not, I'm going to get one of those. That looks delicious. So we talked NBA Finals. Let's talk NHL Stanley Cup Finals as well as the Vegas Golden Knights.
From lifting Lord Stanley's Cup one more time again. Took a 3-0 advantage in this series. Florida got one back. Chandler Stevenson scored the game's first 2 goals. William Karlsson added what ended up being the winner in Game 4. Stevenson said after the game, quote, "We did not want to lose. We wanted to push as best we could to try to take their fans out of it, just try to have a killer instinct." Well, they almost got killed because there was a wholesale brawl on the ice at the conclusion of Game 4. The fans felt like they had gotten jobbed by the officials. The Golden Knights felt like the Panthers had taken some liberties out on the ice, and they decided to let them know about it late in that game. Now, the good news for Florida is that is exactly what they want. They have played bully hockey all year, and the reason why is evident in their postseason run. When they can get into your head and get you to stop playing your game and start trying to fight back instead of playing hockey, the quality of hockey comes down. That's what Florida's looking for, right? Florida is in a fight with a Golden Knights team that is believed to be like this young, fresh team. They're not. That's a team full of vets. That's a team full of guys who have been here, done this. And so far in this series, it is a team full of vets that until the very end of Game 4 have not responded. They did at the end of Game 4, but at that point they responded after the game was over, which is the best time to do it, right? We beat you, and now we're going to beat you up. Florida wants to bring the quality of hockey down. It's a good team, but they just don't have the talent that Vegas has. So they wanted to replicate what they did against Boston. Now, I will also say that, for instance, the series against Boston, Florida played the best hockey they've played all year. For a team that had to scratch and claw to get in as the final playoff team, a team that was in a win-or-go-home scenario on the final day of the regular season, Florida's done a pretty good job at creating scenarios where they bring down the quality of play of better teams, get into a fight with them, and then sneak a couple of goals away late. How many late game winners has Matthew Tkachuk knocked down? A handful in this postseason. That is because late in the game, teams are frustrated. They're flustered. They're responding. Let's check in with the great one real quick. Zoe, how many wrestling matches have you seen in your life where the underdog got a dub, not because he was the better wrestler, but because he was being annoying as hell and he threw off the better wrestler's game?
Too many to come up with a number, yes.
A lot. It is one of the oldest strategies in the book.
It's kind of like a Matthew Dellavedova in the NBA.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That pestering guy that's just, it makes everybody want to fight him and just shows you can't get into your game because he's in your head.
Yeah. And to be able to get rid of that guy takes a certain amount of zen. And there's not a lot of zen on the ice, man. It's a violent sport, right? So you are talking about a scenario. Go down to your local Y and play basketball. Just go watch a pickup basketball game. There's one of these cats in every pickup basketball game who pesters you. This is the guy that you got to stop shooting jumpers because every time you go up to shoot a J, he gives you a little love tap, little love tap to the boys. It's like, what are you going to do about it, right? There's nothing you can do. Florida's smart about how they do it. They bully you off the puck. They know where the refs' angles are going to be so they can get away with it. They're going to pop you with the stick a couple of times. They're going to stick you in the glass when you're off puck. And they're going to try to they want you to chase them. They want you to get mad. They want you to chase them. Why? Because they can't beat, with all due respect to Matthew Tkachuk in the gang, they can't beat most teams in the league just playing straight up 5-on-5 hockey. They need you to make mistakes. They need you to get out of position. They need you to chase. They need you to hold up. They need you to have your eyes on the guy who hit you, not the guy who's driving the net. So that when you make that mistake, they can slip one by, and the next thing you know, Florida's right here in the game. And not only do they have a chance to win, but you're not skating your best hockey because you've got eyes in the back of your head looking for where that next cheap shot's going to come from. And as long as those keep coming and you're focused on them and not the puck, Florida has a chance. That's why Florida has won so many of these games on late game winners. It is because of the fact that early in the game, when your head's in the game, when you're dialed in, when you're playing your best hockey, you don't make a lot of mistakes. If you're a playoff caliber team, if you're a conference final or divisional round caliber team, you don't make a lot of mistakes. You're not going to get into a spot where that guy hit you once against the board and then you start chasing him because you want to get that slash back that didn't get called. You want a little payback. You want to hurt him a little bit. So you're chasing him instead of the puck. That's not going to happen early in the game when you're dialed in, when you've spent all day getting zoned in, getting focused in on the task at hand. That's going to happen 50, 55, 57 minutes deep into the hockey game. Florida's strategy this entire postseason has been just hang around until the end, right? Beat them up, slash them up, don't get tossed, don't give up any shorthanded goals. Stick around to the end. Wait till they are frustrated. Wait until they are flustered. And when they are, that's when we attack. And so far, it's worked. It's gotten them here. But again, Boston, I think, coasted into that series thinking, oh, we got this, right? Boston coasted into the opening round series thinking, we got this. This is the worst team in the playoffs. This is a team that has no business being here. So let's just go out and do what the Boston Bruins do. And it almost worked. Frankly, should have worked. Florida ended up 7 games with Beantown. But you could see, especially late in Game 7, a long series. A series that just kept dragging and dragging and dragging and dragging on. Late in that game, the Boston Bruins were very frustrated. Late in that game, the Boston Bruins were tired of getting hit. They were tired of that game being as physical as that game was. That series being as physical as that series was. They were tired of it, and they responded. And then Matthew Tkachuk broke hearts late. I go to that Toronto series. Same style from the Cats. Different result. Toronto had just played a 6-game physical series against the Lightning. Toronto came into that, and they bit immediately. Toronto was skating for revenge instead of skating for goals immediately. They got beat 4-1. Carolina just didn't know what the hell to do, right? Florida just beat Carolina, and I mean both on the scoreboard and physically. Just beat Carolina, and Carolina had no idea how to respond. Florida sweeps them in the conference finals. But then they come up against Vegas. A Vegas team that smoked Winnipeg. A Vegas team that was a dog against Edmonton with two of the best goal scorers in the planet. But what did they do in that series? They just kept hitting Connor McDavid. They kept hitting the goal scorers. They kept playing physical, bully-style hockey. And McDavid and gang could not respond. They win that series 4-1. Then they go up against Dallas. Dallas, probably the most disciplined team in hockey. So how did Vegas win that? By also not breaking the game plan, but just playing better hockey. Just being more crisp, knowing the zones, knowing what lines were currently skating and their weaknesses and attacking them. They did everything right. Florida came in and tried to bully Las Vegas. Tried to bully Las Vegas into making mistakes. But Vegas is not a young, impressionable team. They are also not a team whose head is too big for their body. It's not a team that came into this thinking, we deserve to be here. We deserve to be here. We are better than them. Let's go skate and prove it. This is a team that came into this series going, we got to fight. We got to fight. They're not responding to Florida playing bully hockey. They're not responding to the late cross checks. They're not responding to the slashes taking place away from the refs off the puck. They're playing excellent power play hockey. They are earning the extra power plays because they are letting Florida do it and setting Florida up to get caught. That is why Vegas is up 3-1 in this series. That is why Vegas has, by and large, dominated Florida. The only game Florida won, it was a miracle goal late to make it happen. That is why Vegas is going to put this series away. Let's take a break. We have talked Stanley Cup. We have talked NBA. We've got to talk Super Regionals coming up later on in the show. We've got to talk about Jack Swarbrick stepping away from Notre Dame, one of the loudest and most influential voices in college football, es no mas. What, if anything, does that mean for the college football landscape? We'll get into that. We got to wrap up this Live Tour PGA Tour stuff because we did have some developments over the weekend we need to get into. Stacked, locked, and loaded third hour. So don't go anywhere. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
The sports voice of you, the Upstate fan. Welcome to the
Upstate.
Now CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
The Buildings Update is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Only one of 36 teams has recovered from a 3-1 hole in the NBA Finals. Yet Jimmy Butler says his Heat remain confident.
It is at an all-time high just because it always has been all year. It always will be. The belief that we have in one another, it stems from the amount of time that we spend with one another and how we actually enjoy being around one another.
Their rally has to begin tonight. Game 5 in Denver. Tip-off shortly after 6:30 local time. Eric Spoelstra did not have an update yesterday on Tyler Hero's status. He's been close for a while apparently, but still hasn't returned from his broken hand from their very first playoff game this spring. The Celtics reportedly hiring Charles Lee as Joe Mazzulla's top assistant. Lee just interviewed for the Raptors and Pistons head coaching jobs. He's been a Mike Budenholzer assistant the last 9 seasons. The Boston Red Sox won on Sunday Night Baseball at Yankee Stadium 3-2-10. Kike Hernandez, the tie-breaking RBI single in that final inning. I'm Andrew Boone.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home.
That is a mean-looking sandwich, Steven, by the way.
CBS Sports Radio.
This is an important notice. bonus to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are 8+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along. Or
I did not try. I'm not going to lie. I got so caught up in playing the shows, I didn't film anything.
in fact,
I'll see if I've got a couple old ones I'll maybe pull up at some point.
like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank.
So I couldn't get my car fixed because it stopped doing it.
Checking services for free.
So, and they had said that if they can't find it doing what it's doing, like when you need an engineer in radio and they walk in and it doesn't do it anymore. So the entire trip, it was fine. I get back, it stopped working when I got back. But like Sunday, it stopped working Sunday. So it's too late for me to, it's like, this is,
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional grade products. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Next up, straight talk from Doug. Ever notice that saying no offense is offensive? Like, no offense, but you're overpaying for your wireless. See? Offensive.
That's the Straight Talk talking. Get unlimited plans as low as $35 a month from Straight Talk on America's most reliable 5G network. Available at Walmart and Walmart.
no, I did not, Steven. I spent too much money on vacation and couldn't really afford to go to the movies.
I did see.
Did you?
Holy crap, it's good.
Yeah, I'll wait till it's out on video because
Holy.
once you miss the window,
No.
yeah,
Go see it in the theater. Please go. I have not said this to you before. Please go see that movie in the theater.
I gotta
That
go.
movie
I gotta
is
go see Flash this week,
gorgeous.
so maybe next week.
It is one of the most beautiful movies I've watched.
Really? Okay,
Yes. It's you remember in the first one how they
that wasn't what I was saying really about.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry. Hey, Rob, did you know this is like my 7,584 show? Did you know that? We should celebrate that.
75-84, let's go!
Looking forward to 7,857.
Man, you're still going to be here, right?
Probably.
Good.
Didn't know we were celebrating that stuff now. You know, it's
Might as
new,
well.
new to me. Things happen when you're on vacation.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate.
Not trying to derail, but do we have a winner?
Oh, we're going to the end of the show.
Already? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lonzo, without consent, has so graciously said that he will attend one barbecue lunch with me so that I can display unto him what transcendent barbecue truly is. I am talking about the barbecue that when you are done consuming it, it just makes your life better, right? I am talking about the barbecue that gives you a post-coitus reaction. Just,
Really?
yeah. Because great barbecue can do that. I've come to the realization that Lonzo's never had great barbecue. Because Lonzo describes barbecue as food for poor people. And anyone who would say that barbecue is food for poor people has very clearly, obviously, and evidently never had great, not good, great barbecue.
Or grew up on welfare and knows what it means to be poor and has risen above, that place and never
That's
wants
fine.
to go back to
If
where
we
that.
were talking about bologna sandwiches, I'd be like, okay, I get it.
They taste better if the ketchup and mustard are in a smiley face, by the way.
But I am not talking about bologna sandwiches. I am talking about great barbecue.
You said barbecue that when you taste it, you know it was made with passion.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It was made by someone who gives a damn. It was made by somebody who loves barbecue. I want you to think, though.
By the way, the food at the beach this time, subpar. And there was no passion in anything that I ate there.
And it's disappointing.
So
right?
I'm looking forward to some food that someone really wanted to make it for me.
I want you to think about, though, the best video game you've ever played, right? You got one off the top of your head?
I don't think you can do that. It's like your favorite song, your favorite. I mean, I have a top 5. Yes.
Video game would you say you've spent the most time in?
Skyrim.
Skyrim, which is a great choice. Skyrim did a wonderful job because there you can go down any path you want. You can go down multiple paths. You can spend dozens upon dozens of hours only playing side quests and never even get into the story if you want. Now,
And it's also in a setting where most of the people look like me. So, I mean, I just feel like I'm at home.
so I want you to take the countless hours you have dumped into Skyrim. And then I want you to think about somebody who took those same hours and just honed it into learning the art of barbecue.
So you're saying someone like that exists in the upstate of South Carolina?
I'm saying multiple people like that exist in every county in America. The overwhelming majority of them just do it for fun at the house, right? Like me. I make restaurant quality ribs, but I don't do it at a restaurant.
Allegedly.
No, I do. I just don't do it at a restaurant. I do it at my house. And if you are lucky enough to have some of my meat, it's a great day. And you're in a very small, very select group of people. But there are some people who do it in restaurants. And they have found a way to profit off their passion. right? I'm a sports guy, just one sports, not sports guy, just a regular sports guy. And I found a way, fortunately enough, I think, to take the minimal amount of talent that I have, to partner it up with a passion that I have that is sports, and profit off of it. That, but meat, but barbecue. That's what these people are. And when you find one of them, they will transform your life. It's like a therapist, but with food. It's great. It's great. So, what we have thrown at you, this texter says, the best barbecue comes from shacks on the side of the road. You're not wrong. The best barbecue I have ever had comes from a little barbecue restaurant in Fort Walton Beach, Florida called Kinfolks Barbecue. Kinfolks Barbecue.
Inbreeding?
Maybe.
Okay.
But they make a damn fine barbecue.
Sorry, that's my
Roll Tide.
first. Yeah.
Kinfolks Barbecue has been a barbecue establishment in Fort Walton Beach, Florida for as long as I was in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. It is in an old office building that hails back to the 50s. It's been in there the whole time. The Q Master is this dude who's been there since, again, I can remember. He's been there that long. He's got to be, at this point, he's got to be in his 80s. And he shows up and he makes those ribs and that pork every day. And Kinfolk, when I go home and I go to Pensacola, I will more often than I don't get in the car and drive the hour from Pensacola back to Fort Walton just to get Kinfolk. There are two foods I will drive for: Kinfolks Barbecue, Hellenbach Pizza. Those two spots I will drive for every single time. Great barbecue will transcend whatever bad mood you have going on. It's that good when it's that good. The problem I'm bumping into, and this is where we are asking for your help as the Rob Brown Armada. The problem is, how many people have never had great barbecue and think that good barbecue is great barbecue? Good barbecue is good barbecue. Good barbecue is fine.
This is why you need to go, because you have said that you've had great barbecue before. So what if you taste the barbecue that's been suggested by the listeners and go,
I'm going to tell you right now the way this is going to work. Calling the shot. Whoever wins, and this is the list we've got going so far. We've got 3 different restaurants that have 2 votes, and we've got about 12 different restaurants that have at least 1 vote. Whoever wins, and I'm taking this all the way through the end of the hour, maybe through the end of the day. We'll see. Whoever wins, if I have not been there yet, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go by myself. Me and the fiance will go. We will decide if it is worthy, because we got to get this right, ladies and gentlemen. If we blow this, if I get Lonzo to lunch and we eat the barbecue and he goes, it's just barbecue, we'll never get this chance again, right? It's like asking the prettiest girl in the school to the prom. You get one crack at it, because if it goes squirrely, that whole thing's shot. You'll never get another opportunity. You got one shot. So I will go along with the lady friend. We will make sure that we agree it is up to snuff. And if it is, then we will bring Lonzo to test out the Q. So I want you guys right now to send me your great barbecue. Now, there's one restriction. It's got to be in the upstate, right? Because Texter just said Grandpa Johnson's in Plant City is amazing, but Hog Wild in Brevard, North Carolina is, quote, off the chain, end quote. I don't think I'm getting Lonzo on a roadie to Brevard.
all right, Brevard,
For lunch.
Brevard, not that far away, but that's not a we're just going out for lunch type
Yeah,
thing.
that's all. We got to take half a day off to go to Brevard and back in a day.
Boss isn't here. We could probably.
That's true. He's off this week.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Don't know if he's out of the listening area. Let's hope.
And of course, what I mean is we would never do that because we are committed, hardworking young men with integrity.
Well, I meant after our work was done. I mean,
True. Sorry, I'm writing down the most recent additions to the list. We do have we got a couple over in Spartanburg. And yes, by the way, I will throw Lonzo in the front seat and take a ride over to the Berg to pick up the correct cue.
I'll say that's not necessary, although unless you just want me
Well,
to
you're like
ride
halfway
in,
there,
ride in a
that's
new
true.
car. I mean, because we could race.
I feel like you got a slight advantage there.
Yeah, not really. I don't want to race, including you, Guy, every Saturday night, including this Saturday night, who wanted to race, and so I just stayed back until we were going 45 miles an hour down 385 because I was not coming up next to him to race.
Texter said, Rob, unfortunately for me, barbecue is like post-coitus. I just want to take a nap afterwards.
Probably don't eat as many portions next time. I'm just, saying.
But that's the other thing. If the barbecue's that good, you won't stop when you're full.
I do not want to come out of there with meat sweats. Okay. That's not a goal for me.
No. The goal is to find barbecue that is good enough that you have the meat sweats and you go, worth it. That's what you're looking for. That might be the telltale sign of great barbecue, that you are uncomfortable when you're done and you are absolutely okay with it. Oh, so good. That was good. Great barbecue will make you want to recline the front seat of your car and take a nap before you go home. That's great barbecue. So send your list right now. All right. I have now got 3 restaurants that have multiple votes to it. 3 of them that have multiple votes. Send your best barbecue suggestion. If I get one crack to prove to Lonzo that great barbecue is life-changing, where is the upstate BBQ spot that I take him to make that happen? I will keep this question going for the rest of the show. Shoot your text 71307. Start it with FAN, F-A-N, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air at the end of the show when we get our votes compiled. So there you go. That's what we're looking out for. Let's do this. Let's run to a break like a minute early because I got a couple of stories and I want to get them both in the next segment because we are rapidly approaching the end of yet another day of excellent sports talk radio. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a part of the show, 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Start that text with FAN, F-A-N. Send us your best barbecue joint in the upstate. And we'll tell you who the winner is when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the FAN Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Not going to reveal it yet, but I think we have a barbecue winner so far.
You still got time to change that,
Still
though.
got time to change it.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers is back with the summer East Coast.
Wow, the sun came out, and look at that day now.
It's beautiful out. I might head over to Warehouse up Midtown.
Nice white puffy clouds. Could be concealing aliens. We don't know, but you know.
Temperamental attitude, over 14 million seconds of Mark Ryan popping off at people for that. We're sorry. Wait, what? You're invited to the 1000th show of Offsides with Mark Ryan, Wednesday, June 21st, 3 to 7 at Ingles Market, 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway, Spartanburg. Offsiders, join us and thank you. The Fan, Upstate. Get it a game on the Rob Brown Show.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonzo with you. Pretty sure we have a winner for our barbecue spot, but you do have another, we'll call it, 30 minutes or so to get it changed. Let's get to a couple more stories before we call it a day. College World Series mostly set. 6 out of the 8 super regionals were decided in just the 2 games, including the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They knock off Alabama up in Winston-Salem. The Deacs, the number 1 national seed, got into a fist fight with Alabama, metaphorically speaking. 5-4 win in game 1. Then in game 2, Wake Forest won, Lonzo, 22-5. That's a baseball score, ladies and gentlemen.
That is, was that mercy rule? Because we looked it up. Remember, there is a mercy rule, but I don't know if it applies to College World Series games, but there is a mercy rule.
The mercy rule does not take place in NCAA postseason play.
Okay. All right. So it's only regular
that's
season.
a full 9,
Okay.
22-5. Wake Forest earns its first College World Series berth since 1955. Texas and Stanford are tied at 1 game apiece. The Longhorns edged the number 8 national seed Stanford Cardinals 7-5 on Friday in game 1. They had an early lead against the Cardinal in game number 2, but Stanford fought back to get an 8-3 dub. They will play a deciding game later on today in Palo Alto, California. LSU thumped the Wildcats in game 1, tried to make it a little more stressful than you'd like in game number 2, but poured it on very late. LSU, 8-3 winners in an SEC rivalry. They are headed to Omaha. Southern Miss and Tennessee were playing down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Southern Miss got game 1 on Saturday after a rain postponement. Yesterday, Chase Dollander had a heck of a series to help Tennessee tie that series up at 2 games apiece. They will play today in Hattiesburg. Winner goes on to Omaha. Virginia wins the Charlottesville Super Regional. The Blue Devils won 5-4 in game 1, while the Cavaliers dominated 14-4 in game 2. UVA won the third matchup 12-2 yesterday. Up in Eugene, Oregon, Oral Roberts University knocked off Oregon 11-5 in their third game on Sunday. The Ducks came from 8 runs down to win game 1 9-8. Oral Roberts was up 8-0, and Oregon poured it on Oral Roberts. The Eagles decided they did not want to screw around anymore, so they went and finished off the Ducks and took that dub. And then TCU, 4-1 winners over Indiana State on Friday, 6-2 on Saturday. They clinched their berth in the College World Series. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the Gamecocks of South Carolina saw their season come to its conclusion off of the hand of Hurston Waldrop. 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs allowed, and 13 strikeouts in game number 2. The Gators won 4-0 on Saturday. They are headed to Omaha now as well. And look, it's real simple. Called this shot going into the regionals. Picked South Carolina on Thursday's show. I picked them to go down in 2 of 3. I thought this was a game that a series. We'd see a game 3 on Sunday. But the nightmare happened. One of the risks that you take when you rely on the bats is that bats go cold. Bats go cold for everybody. If a pitcher goes cold, you throw in another pitcher. Maybe you skip a start. Maybe you move him out to the pen to shorten up his workload a little bit. Give him a chance to find the mojo. But if the bats go cold as a lineup, you're in trouble. And that's what ended up happening to the Gamecocks. The Friday nighter was a good one. It was a good one till late. But Florida was just launching moonshots early in that game. And I think it kind of got to South Carolina a little bit. I think the confidence got shooketh a little bit. And when the bats came out on Saturday, they were just cold. And if you are relying on them in a 7-game series, you got a little bit better of a chance. In a 7-game series, you got a little bit more of an opportunity to get something going, right? But if you're playing a 3-game series, there is no time for your bats to go cold. And they did for the Gamecocks. You had a hit from McGillis. You had a hit from Wimmer. You had a hit from Petrie. And that was it. That was it. McGillis went 1 for 4. Wimmer went 1 for 4. Petrie went 1 for 4. Everybody else was 0 for the day. And again, you had K's. Now, the pitching wasn't awful in the 4-0 loss. It wasn't awful. You had 10 Ks off the hands of the Gamecocks. It's not a terrible showing. It's just that unfortunate that Florida was on fire. Waldrop went 8 innings, 3 hits, 13 Ks. They went to Neely for the final inning. He K'd 1, couple of ground outs, did it. 6 hits surrendered by South Carolina. 6 hits surrendered by South Carolina. That's not a bad day in college ball. Giving up 6 hits should keep you in most games. But Florida was just dominant off the bump that night. And as much as you love to look up and see Wake Forest putting 22 on the Tide, the reality is the College World Series is won by pitching matchups. It's won by hot hands. You don't see a ton of bullpen games in Omaha because they don't win you. You got to have somebody come out, be dominant for 6, 7+ innings, and give your guys a chance to win. Florida did it. South Carolina didn't. It's real simple. Now, the good news for the Gamecocks, I think, is that there's some positives to look at from this year. Yeah, the season's over. Yeah, it's disappointing. You would have preferred it ended one way or another in Omaha. But you had 42 wins this year. The best SEC record in the first super regional berth since 2018. You got swept by Florida, but Florida was, and I called this shot, Florida was the worst matchup for South Carolina. The further you could put off facing down the Gators, the better. Florida was the kryptonite. I called that shot going into this series.
One thing you can say, if you're South Carolina, you are the best college baseball team in the state.
Yeah.
You went further than any other team in the state, and there was a couple good ones.
But I think there is something. It's like when a college football team starts claiming a state championship. Yeah. I mean, I guess
it only matters to the fans, especially a certain fan base that will be quiet. But so they did better than expected.
Look,
With
For
the
a
way
team-
they ended the season, they barely got in, and to be able to do what they did, I think that's pretty good.
For South Carolina to have lost 6 consecutive SEC series to end the regular season and then make a super regional run, you trended in the right direction. That's what you're looking for. The positives are there. South Carolina is now on the board. People recognize, right? This is a team that went ice cold for a month and a half and yet still hosted a regional and yet still made it to a super regional. You are announcing to the college baseball landscape that you have arrived at this point. This is the same Mark Kingston that some of y'all wanted canned last year and the year before that. Again, I'm not saying this performance completely takes Kingston off the hot seat. I am saying he cooled it down quite a bit, right? Now, as we mentioned back during the early portion of the show, Braswell is transferring. He made that announcement the day after the season came to its conclusion. That says to me, maybe it's only him, but I don't think you want to operate under the assumption it was only him. But that certainly said that there was at least an internal conversation amongst a player at some point during that stretch of cold that maybe this isn't the right spot, right? I'll finish up, but maybe this ain't the right spot. And that does concern me a little bit. It's not time to push the panic button. You've got the transfer window to work with still. We know some of the spots. Back end rotation, bullpen pitching. We know some of the spots South Carolina is going to need to bump up on. And again, don't forget, multiple injuries to the Gamecocks they had to fight through this year. Multiple injuries that really impacted South Carolina both off the bump and at the dish this year. And just like I said they would going into the regionals. When those injuries go away, this team's going to be good. The injuries went away. The team was perfect through the regionals. You just ran up against one of the most talented teams in baseball, the Florida Gators, and a team that was built to beat you. It was going to take a special effort. Forget the fact that you ended up getting one of the greatest pitching performances in College World Series history out of Waldrop. That performance in Game 2 would have beat anybody in the country. I believe that thoroughly. That performance beats anybody in the country. That was an improve your draft pick type performance out of Waldrop. You trended upwards. You clearly identified your positions of need. And I think a solid chunk of the bad luck for South Carolina can be attributed to the injury bug. That's not an excuse. That's a reason. Yeah. So you fill in a couple of holes. You hope that next year you can keep everybody healthy, because that's the other aspect of it, right? Like if South Carolina did not have a 6-series skid, then I think a lot of the momentum carries forward versus you get beat for 6 straight series. Oh, and by the way, you start dropping midweek solo games to, who was it? Florida Atlantic at home. I can mess with your head a little bit. It can mess with your confidence a little bit. You start going into it with a uh-oh instead of a we got you. We're good. And I think when South Carolina turned it around and got the bats rolling, I think it's possible. I'll phrase it that way. I think it is possible in that point that maybe South Carolina gets to a point where they themselves are like, we're hot, we're getting lucky. As opposed to, yo, we good. We're a good baseball team. And it can mess with your head a little bit. We've seen I think the Mets are the example that I would use. I would think the Phillies from last year were an example I could use, right? The Mets giving up that lead in the NL East last year, they went on a cold slide. But the mentality of that team became toxic. You can see it right now. The Mets get swept by the Braves in Atlanta last week. And poor Buck Showalter, who is a wonderful guy, but I think is on his last leg in New York, is coming out and he's getting on the mic and he's going, I view this as a victory. I think this is positive for the guys, right? And then you get the players going in the mic and they're like, yeah, dude, we're frustrated. We're playing like crap. I don't remember who it was. Was it Alonso? I don't remember. One of the guys said, we're playing like crap and everybody sees it. Now, one of the lady friend and I, one of our biggest head-butting discussions is the concept of manifestation, right? You ever heard of that? Put it out into the universe. If you want to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, going to be a millionaire, going to be a millionaire, going to be a millionaire. You start building your vision board. You cut out pictures of that Bugatti from the magazine and pin it to the vision board.
What's a Bugatti?
It's a very fast, very expensive car.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You cut out the picture of the beach house in Antigua that you want to buy. You cut out the picture of that Cartier watch that you want to rock one day when you can afford to have some drip. Yeah? Manifestation. I think it really just comes down to attitude. If you believe that you are going to be a millionaire, then you don't view the things that you're doing as obstacles that must be overcome. You begin to believe them to be just a stepping stone on the path, right? You don't view that I'm working on creating this attitude myself. You don't view the alarm going off at 5 a.m. as the worst part of your day. You view it as the beginning of the best part of your day. It's an attitude. And I think with the exception of a few of the elite, guys like Kobe, guys like Mike, etc., I think we forget sometimes that athletes, especially college athletes, are people. And college athletes got it worse because not only are they people, Lonzo, but they're kids, and kids are dumb. And when you get into your head, positive or negative, it can impact the way that you behave, yeah? And so if at any point, and I'm not saying this did happen, it's just a read I got. Just a read I got. But at some point during that 6-game skid, it felt to me like the attitude of the South Carolina baseball team shifted from, hey, we're a damn good team, to, maybe we're not, right? And even when things got right, when everybody came to Columbia for the regional and you worked your way through the regional with a perfect run, it is harder to make yourself think positively. It's easy to think negatively. That's why everybody does it. It's easy. Hell, again, Lonzo and I are guilty of this. Every time we get the email from the boss that goes, hey, swing by the office when you get a minute, we're like, well, we're fired. Been a good run, everybody. Enjoyed working with y'all. See you next. It's easy to think negatively.
Yeah, you don't think there's anyone else out there that thinks like that, and then you find out that
everybody does.
But there's at least 2 in the building that do it more than anybody else.
Again, how many of y'all have got the swing by my office when you get them in an email from the boss and thought, I'm getting a promotion? None of it. Very few of us. Some of y'all do.
And in our case, the boss doesn't do that very often. So it's, well, in my case, I'm in trouble. I mean, that's the only time that he says swing by. I'm in trouble.
Well, again, as I told the boss when I worked here, don't call me unless I'm in trouble, right? If I'm doing everything right, just let me work. Let me cook. Let's ride. If I'm not, like if I'm in trouble, then call me down there, right? So I kind of set it up for myself. But the point is, I think at some point, I got the attitude read off the Gamecocks that at some point during that 6-series slide, they broke Journey's rule and they stopped believing. And it's easy to start thinking negatively. It's very difficult to start thinking positively. You have to positivity is like a muscle. You have to train it. Confidence is like a muscle. You have to train it. The only thing that can make you confident is confidence. Gaining confidence is hard because you have to what? You have to succeed to gain confidence, right? If I go to the bar and I ask 100 ladies if they want a drink and 100 of them tell me no, I'm walking out of there with zero confidence. If I go in there and I ask 100 ladies if they want to grab a drink and just 10 of them say yes, I'm walking out of there feeling like a stud. Confidence is hard to get because you have to fail and fail and fail and fail and fail until you succeed. But the only way to push through failure after failure after failure and succeed is to be confident. It's hard to do. So I got the read that South Carolina lost the swagger, lost the mojo, lost the confidence. And even though they ran through a perfect regional, the confidence was gone. And when they bumped up against the Florida team, and again, South Carolina, Florida, game 1 was a great baseball game. But when Florida hit a couple of back-to-back moonjacks and took over the scoreboard, it felt like I was watching a different team after that. And in game 2, after the heartbreak L in game 1, because Waldrop was working the edges like Da Vinci, it felt to me like South Carolina had no swag. Felt like they had no confidence. It felt like they believed their identity was the team that lost 6 straight SEC series, not the team that had a perfect regional. And I think that did you in. So what do you do this offseason? You work the portal. You replace Braswell. You shore up the back end pitching and you figure out what the hell did we do to get everybody injured and how do we stop it from happening next year? And you come back with some swag. You come back with some confidence because I truly believe, I know I'm being cliche here. I try not to. I know I'm being cliche here. But it felt to me like South Carolina thought themselves out of that series instead of into it. And I think it showed. Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. We will wrap up the Monday edition of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. The great one's back, y'all. Looking for your barbecue joint. Where do I take the great one to go get the best barbecue in the upstate so we can change his very wrong, very bad opinion about barbecue? Send me a text, 71307. Start that text with fan and give me the best barbecue in the upstate so I can get Lonzo's head right. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. As soon as I said it, I'm like, oh, Steven's going to point out that I said alarm. Alarm! The alarm goes off. All right, guys, back in 30 seconds. All right. We got two more during the vote, and we have a winner. Although there is one called Holy Smokes. I love that. The great news is, whether Lonzo likes it or not, I now have a very comprehensive list of barbecue joints in the upstate.
Well, there you go.
Crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
But do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
So do I want to get my work done really quick and go home and play another 6 or 7 hours of Diablo? I don't know. My thumb hurts. My thumb hasn't hurt playing a game in a while, and it's last night I'm like, I cannot beat this boss. And if I don't beat this boss, because it's always online, I'm gonna have to. You don't have to fight your way back to the boss,
Right.
but it won't leave you exactly where it is. So you gotta. And I don't have a horse yet, because you can't get a horse till you beat Act 3. I don't want to have to change my build, but there's a large cannibal in my way,
Are you,
and I can't.
are you tanking?
I can't get past it. Well, no, I can still tank, but just change a couple things at a distance spell.
Yeah.
Which I'm
That's
playing
not
as
tanking.
I'm playing as a druid. No, you're right. I'm playing as a druid, but I have 2 wolf companions and I have a vine, a poison vine, which also will give you a poison attack, which doesn't hurt too much against a boss, but it will weaken them to put the, I forget what it's called, but there's a thing where it goes purple.
Yeah.
You can do more damage.
Wrapping up this edition of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. We have our winner. And wouldn't you know it, Lonzo? Who sneaks in at the very end of the stream with another vote for the winner? How about Miss Lisa making her appearance on the show with Bobby's Barbecue and Fountain Inn? And that's our winner. So,
Really?
Keegan has hyped Bobby's.
Really?
Miss Lisa is now your dearly betrothed, your better half.
Who doesn't agree with my take on barbecue, by the way.
So she's right.
Yeah,
Good.
well, you know,
Once again,
she's seldom wrong.
that holds true here. Lonzo, I'm going to forgo Twitter trending topics here because I want you to play that clip. Can we grab it in time? Do we have? Yeah, we got time. We'll figure it out. Y'all, we opened the show with it. I'm going to close the show with it. Lonzo doesn't like country music. And one of the arguments he's used is because country music is too easy, he says. Too easy. So, Lonzo produced for the Upstate Pulse, which airs 7 to 9 on WORD every Saturday. You should listen to it. It's incredible. It's honestly, it's my favorite show on the radio. Lonzo produced a parody commercial for his parody country music band, with which a tip of the cap to me, he is affectionately called Rob's Hat. And here is that commercial. He said with great anticipation.
Well, it's trying to play. let me try it again. All good. The computer just froze.
Oh, perfect.
Guess we don't get to hear it.
Well, we'll save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't. It's
Unless it fires up in the next 30 seconds or so. In which case, we'll give it a run. But
you missed them, but now they're back. Rob's Hat, the band that took the country world by storm, just dropped their latest hit album. She's easy like country music.
Hey, y'all, this is Lonnie from Rob's Hat. Please buy our new album, because our drummer Purvis done stole another stinking red truck, and we need bail money. Thank you.
This album is bound to be a hit at your barbecue, bail hearing, or bar mitzvah with tracks like She's Easy Like Country Music, She's Not My Girl, She's My Bartender.
She's not my girl, she's my bartender. I am the man, I'm not a pretender.
She's not my girl, she's my bartender. But at 2 a.m. I am him, the guy that's gonna win her.
Double wide love in a single wide. Lychees in my breechies. Storm clouds.
Storm clouds on the horizon, wind upon the plain. The feel and smell and look there is right before the rain.
Waffle House Serenade and Overcompensation.
Mid-size, half-size, extended cab with rag tops. B6, B8, it means that this won't stop. Pocket space too small, we'll park that truck sideways. It's not the motion of the ocean, it's the capsize these days. You can try to hide it, but you won't hear what you're saying. The parking lot's full and you're just truck compensating.
Order now and get absolutely free Pappy Does Show Tunes. The beautiful vocal stylings of the one and only Pappy will delight audiences everywhere with his magnificent renditions of Danny Boy,
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are gone.
Toyland, Nimri from Cats, Jelly Roll Blues, Hello My Baby,
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Lady Marmalade, and many more.
Gitty, gitty, ya, ya, da, da. Gitty, gitty, ya, ya, yeah. Mocha chocolate, ya, ya. Creole lady marmalade. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? Moi, baby! Wait a second. Wait, that means what?
Pick up or download She's Easy Like Country Music from Rob's Hat today. Venmo your money to hashtag Purvis Loves Red Trucks. Purvis will be waiting in jail. Seriously, dude? Again?
I cannot tell you people how infuriated I am that Lonzo, to prove that country music is easy, came up with a song called She's Not My Girl, She's My Bartender, because that is an incredible concept of a song. You know why it's great? Because the overwhelming majority of us who spent any time as an adult who was single had a bartender we had a crush on. Every one of us had a bartender we had a crush on. Every damn one of us. And Lonzo came up with that concept to make fun of the fact that that would be a hit song. Waffle House Serenade is gonna put Celine Dion in her damn place when it comes to love songs. Waffle House Serenade has platinum potential, my guy. So anyway, look for the actual Rob's Hat coming your way soon, because I want these songs on track now. Incredible. And if you thought Lonzo couldn't spit bars, you just got a wake-up call. You just got the wake-up call. James said, I'm all for the disrespect to country music. Trey said, this makes me miss Lonzo singing REO Speedwagon. He's got talent. James said, I'm not suggesting those are top 10 Billboard country hits, but Steve said, where am I swimming? I don't know. I told Zoe I'm going to get with Thomas at Warehouse and see if I can't book a gig for Rob's Hat. We might be performing live very soon. Just a heads up, Lonzo's going to quit the band after the first song.
After the first one. So when we do it, we'll take requests. You got to decide what's going to be my one and only song. Then I'm out.
Oh, I don't. I want Lonzo rolling like Jelly Roll on the front of the stage, rapping lines. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Send all of your gratitude to Lonzo's greatness at Lonzo One Word on Twitter. We're back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. It's so good. Wait, that means what?
That was the very first punchline I wrote.
Oh, that's great.
Cameron, I know we're still on the stream, could not do French for nothing. So many takes. I'm like, listen, man, it's voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? And he's like, I can't do, and which means, will you go to bed with me tonight? Which is what it means.
Yeah.
Or will you sleep with me tonight?
Wait, sleep with me.
And I was like, yeah, we'll do this. And then you say, it means what? He's like, okay. And then they struggle with everything else,
Dude.
piece of cake. And I was like, no, it's just not good enough. You got to get the French down. You still can't say Creole. It was Creole.
So good, man. So good. All right. That's a little treat for all of you from all of us.
I don't know if it was a treat or
It
not.
was
But,
for me.
now I've subjected 2 audiences to
I'm
it.
going home to get my guitar and write Waffle House Serenade.
I'll do it. You got to.
Can't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out. You're all stellar people. Tell your friends about us as we continue to grow the show. Have a lovely rest of your Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.